What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, hanging out with the WCW World Heavyweight Championship title. WrestleMania 28. It went down last night. I was fortunate enough to watch it live on pay-per-view with Nick, who you saw in the preview videos, and now I want to give you my reaction video, what I thought of the WrestleMania event itself. I'm actually going to put the belt down because it's heavy as hell and it's too early in the morning for this. World Heavyweight Championship. Gotta love it. Alright, so WrestleMania 28 was billed as what could quite possibly be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. In terms of pay-per-view buys, I'm sure it was way up there because, you know, you bring The Rock back and you know he's coming back, and that just sells tickets. So I'm sure that when the pay-per-view buy numbers come out, maybe they're already out, maybe I just haven't seen them. I'm sure once I see those numbers, I will not be surprised by the numbers. As far as the match quality went, I have a couple of gripes with it, with some of them. It's not like I wasn't entertained, because I definitely was. I'm always entertained by WrestleMania. WrestleMania, in my eyes, can do no wrong. However, there were some things about it that, you know, I was kind of iffy on. Here's my reaction video to WrestleMania 28. I'll give you the results as well as the way I reacted to the matches. First of all, I have to mention, since the match got absolutely no televised play whatsoever, the dark match that preceded the event was a triple threat tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships. Really don't know why this match didn't make the main card at WrestleMania. They certainly had time. But anyways, the defending champions, Primo and Epico, with Rosa Mendes, of course, defeated Jimmy and Jey Uso, as well as the makeshift team of Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd, to retain the World Tag Team titles. Obviously, I haven't seen this match. I haven't come across it. I haven't found, nobody's put it up on YouTube yet or anything like that. From all accounts, it was actually quite a good match, and these guys apparently put on a show. So I feel a little bit slighted that we didn't actually get to see it as the pay-per-view paying audience. But, you know, as long as they went out and had a good match, and the 70-some thousand fans that were there got to see a great tag team match, that's the main thing. Moving on to the main card. First match of the night was Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan for the World Heavyweight Championship. A match which Sheamus won to become the new World Heavyweight Champion in 18 seconds. What a way to squash and bury Daniel Bryan. But he's out there for his first WrestleMania, I believe, and he gets beaten in 18 seconds to lose the title. I'm sorry, I didn't like it. Some people were like, "Oh man, it works so well," and you know, it shows Sheamus as a real powerhouse and everything like that. Yeah, it does, but it buries the hell out of Daniel Bryan. In my eyes, I didn't like it. I didn't like it one little bit. Sorry. I thought it was a bit of a slap in the face to a guy that's one of the best technical wrestlers in the company, who is really not being allowed to show that, or is not being given the opportunity to show it, really, because of the character that he's playing, which I think is always sort of terrible. But, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Sheamus is your new World Heavyweight Champion. It's not like Sheamus doesn't deserve it, but I thought Daniel Bryan deserved better than 18-second squash. Anyways, next match of the night was Kane and Randy Orton. I thought it was quite a good match, had a good amount of back and forth. Kane countered a couple of I got to see that awesome backbreaker that Randy Orton does that I love so much. Orton, I believe, kicked out of Kane's first chokeslam attempt, and then he had Kane perched on the top rope and was going to do like a super RKO from the top rope, and Kane grabbed him by the throat and instead did a jumping chokeslam, which was awesome, and got the pin cover. So Kane defeats Randy Orton at WrestleMania. A good show from both guys. I thought it was a solid match. I expected Randy Orton to win the match, but if you remember in the video, the preview video, I thought, it might be kind of cool to get Kane the win, not just to give him a win at WrestleMania, but to sort of either continue this feud or give Kane a ton of momentum into his next feud. Next match of the night, The Big Show versus Intercontinental Champion Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental strap. If you remember the build to this match, was a lot of Cody Rhodes making fun of Big Show for having terrible WrestleMania moments, and that he's never actually been involved in any of the 3 wins that he had in his career in WrestleMania. He's tied for second all time for the most losses at WrestleMania with 8. So that was the build of the match, and it was Big Show getting mad pissed over that. Well, Big Show now has his WrestleMania moment. Big Show defeats Cody Rhodes to win the Intercontinental Championship. I thought Cody Rhodes was going to win the match, just because I didn't see Big Show with the Intercontinental title, right? It's for Big Show that feels like a step down. Whereas Cody Rhodes winning the Intercontinental title and holding it for so long was a step up in his career. But, he's got the title now, and let's see what they decide to do with him. I'm all for it. So we'll see where Big Show goes from here. Cody Rhodes, I really hope that Rhodes uses the loss of the Intercontinental title, to do the same thing that guys like Bret Hart did, and that's propel themselves into the world title scenario. I think Cody Rhodes is ready for that. I think Cody Rhodes is in a spot in his career now where he's ready to be the world champion, to be the top guy. So that's what I hope to see out of Cody Rhodes in the next year or so, would be for a push to main event status, and to see if he can hack it, and if the crowd will accept him as a world champion. He had a phenomenal Intercontinental title run. I was very happy with Cody Rhodes as the Intercontinental champion. Let's see now what he can do where he's lost the belt. Next match on the night, Divas Tag Team match. Kelly Kelly and Maria Menounos, the host of Extra, versus Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres. All I can say is that it was good for a Divas match. And that's about it. Kelly Kelly and Maria Menounos defeated Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres. WWE continues their trend of celebrity involvement in WrestleMania in matches, and celebrities getting the actual pinfall victory. Maria Menounos pins Beth Phoenix, which apparently means that the women's champion and the women's championship ain't shit, because any random person who happens to be a fan of wrestling can step onto the biggest stage in wrestling, at WrestleMania, and pin the women's champion. I said that was the last thing that I wanted to see out of this match, and that's just what they went and decided to do. And, whatever. Alright, anyways, we'll move on. Next match on the card was The Undertaker versus Triple H, Hell in a Cell. HBK is the special referee, the end of an era match. And this one lived up to the hype. Before I actually talk about the match, I'll just say, there's a difference between great performers in pro wrestling and legendary performers in pro wrestling. Great performers can tell stories with their matches. Legendary performers can storytell mid-match. And that's exactly what Triple H and Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker were doing for this whole match. There was the point where, you know, Triple H was really, you know, beating The Undertaker down with chairs and this sledgehammer and everything, and he kept yelling at Shawn, finish the match, finish it or I will, and that was kind of cool. It's building the story, it's telling the story through not just the match, but literal storytelling. And it was, you know, close-ups with Shawn and The Undertaker, Shawn just being like, it's one match, let it go, and Taker was like, don't stop the match, don't you dare stop the match, and just dripping with emotion. Ultimately, The Undertaker defeats Triple H after a tombstone. The streak lives on, 20-0, as I predicted and as I hoped. The streak lives on. Taker is still undefeated, and Taker is still the man. A couple of thoughts from this match. When Undertaker came out to the ring, first of all, he came out in his like best Legion of Doom impression, like spikes all over his coat and everything like that. And when he came out and when he pulled the hood back and his head was shaved, that blew me away, because I'd never seen that out of The Undertaker before. And you could hear the crowd. The crowd was just like, oh my god. And then they lay even more storyline on it. They're like, apparently every day that Undertaker was waiting for Triple H to accept the challenge, he was cutting off a bit of his hair. And the way that they told the story mid-match and just prior to the match, it's just unbelievable. These guys were the best in the business, still are the best in the business. Undertaker came in. Undertaker looked a little chunky around the midsection, didn't he? Maybe I was the only one that noticed it. I'm in no position to tell anybody that they're out of shape. But, you know, Taker came in, he looked like he had a little spare tire around the midsection there. And, I mean, it's understandable. He hasn't wrestled in a year. Probably wouldn't have been keeping up with the training as intensely as he would be if he was even wrestling part-time. And he's getting older, so it's understandable. Triple H was, of course, the bronzed Adonis that he usually is when he has these big matches. Shawn Michaels starting to look his age a little bit, but, you know, he's still the man, and he's still got the energy. But pretty well everything about this match surpassed last year's match big time, in terms of storytelling, in terms of the actual match itself, which was brutal. A lot of chair play and sledgehammer and finishing moves and just almost constant high spots. Was just a great match, and you could even feel a little bit that the crowd was kind of worn out after the match, which leads me to the next match, and one of the best decisions that I've seen in this booking was after the Undertaker Triple H match to have the Team Johnny versus Team Teddy match. Great. It was a match that, you know, people could be like, oh yeah, cool, look at the high spots, but that no one was really overly invested in, aside from the fact that now, unfortunately, we're going to have to put up with John Laurinaitis twice a week. Team Johnny defeats Team Teddy. It was not an elimination tag match. It was one fall to a finish, and ended almost the way that I thought it would. If you remember on the video, I said, I can see The Miz getting the pin to win the match, and he did. Miz got the pinfall on Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder came in the ring, and he was, you know, a house on fire, and hit a real hard Rough Rider on Dolph Ziggler. And he was set up to give the Miz was it Miz or? He was set up to give somebody a broski boot. So he was, you know, standing in the corner, and he starts doing his woo woo woo. And Eve, who had accompanied him to the ring, gets in the ring beside him and is like, yeah, woo, woo, woo. And Zach's like, what the fuck are you doing here? You gotta, get out, get out, get out. And he turns around, and that's when Miz gets up, gets in behind him, skull-crushing finale, and gets the pin. After the match, Zach gets up and he's really dejected and everything, and Eve's like, oh no, I'm sorry. And as soon as Zach turns around to face her, she kicks a field goal. We'll put it that way, right in the mommy daddy button, and and then gets the hell out of the ring, because the rest of Team Teddy was like, what you doing, bitch? Like, oh my god, what the hell did you just do to Zack Ryder? That part of it felt really tacked on. It's like, unfortunately, it's like the Divas can do nothing right because nobody takes them seriously. The only Divas that you can take moderately seriously in WWE are Beth Phoenix and Karma. Because if you don't take Karma seriously, she will come to your house and eat you. So there's so few women wrestlers in WWE that you can actually take seriously. And Eve Torres is not one of them. Anyway, so Team Johnny beats Team Teddy. Pretty well, I think everybody got into the match. I think we saw everybody. Fairly decent match for the fact that it was, a 12-man tag, which can get kind of overwhelming. But, fairly decent match. Next match on the card, CM Punk defending the WWE Championship against Chris Jericho. I predicted that this was going to be match of the night, and I believe that it was match of the night. At the beginning, prior to the match anyways, John Laurinaitis came back after Team Johnny had won and told CM Punk that if you get disqualified, you're going to lose the title. So that kind of, I don't know, it loosely fit together, but not really. But anyways, so he came in, he said that, and so Punk goes out, and Jericho is like trying to get, he's screaming at him like, your father's a drunk or whatever, and Punk's going in and pounding on him, and the ref's close to counting 5 and disqualifying Punk. It's very good storytelling, of course. The rest of the match was very solid. Jericho locked on a couple of walls of Jericho. He hit a lion salt. Punk kicked out. Punk got out of the submission attempts. Very good chain wrestling, because you would go from Punk with the Anaconda Vice to Jericho rolling him back over and attempting a pin, back into the Anaconda Vice, countered into the Walls of Jericho, Lion Tamer, whatever you want to call it. He also did the old school Lion Tamer, which was fucking awesome. I marked out hard for that. I was like, yeah, that's not the Walls of Jericho, that's the friggin' Lion Tamer. So he had that on, and Punk got out of that, and eventually Punk locked in the Anaconda Vice, and Jericho tapped out. CM Punk, best in the world, retains the WWE Championship. Then we have our main event. We have The Rock versus John Cena. Once the 20-minute or so entrances were done, we get down to the match. I keep reading people doing reviews for this event saying how this match lived up to the hype, and I don't think it did. I don't think that, I don't know, I just don't think the match lived up to the hype. Also could be because, everything WWE did for a year virtually was hyping Rock and Cena. So that's a lot of hype to live up to. But, the match itself was really only iffy. It was slower pace, and I believe that was a lot due to Rock's gas tank not being all that great. He looked like he was huffing and puffing about 3 or 4 minutes into the match. You know, there were some high spots to it, but the whole pacing of the match felt off. Rock, of course, ends up winning the match. Cena hit Rock with the AA, only got a 2 count. Gets up and attempts people's elbow, and Rock kips up and nails him with a rock bottom and pins him 1, 2, 3. You know, I expected Cena to kick out of that to sort of keep the match going a little more, but no, that's where they decided to cut it. And you know, I'm not a huge fan of Rock winning this match because unless Rock plans on sticking around, what was the point? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't get The Rock any more over with the crowd by the fact that he beat John Cena. So I don't know. It felt kind of useless. Like what was the point of Rock winning the match? But anyways, but you know, it was a decent match. But all in all, I don't think that match lived up to the hype. So there you go. That's the breakdown of all the matches. There were a couple of other spots in the event that I wanted to kind of touch on. They had a segment with Santino Marella, Mick Foley, and one of the hosts of Deadliest Catch, or one of the guys that's on Deadliest Catch, which I thought was hilarious, because it's the 3 of them back there like eating seafood, and Foley pulls out Mr. Sacco, and Santino pulls out the Cobra, and Santino's cobraing and smashing into these crab legs, and Mr. Sacco's like munching on crab legs and everything like that. They get the Deadliest Catch guy to throw a big elbow drop on his plate, and that was hilarious. And then Ron Simmons shows up and gives his trademark "damn," and that was awesome too. So that was a hilarious segment, and the crowd blew up when Ron Simmons showed up and said his line. So that was great. We had Heath Slater and 2 douchebags versus Flo Rida. Heath Slater was trying to, I guess, talk his way into doing a duet with Flo Rida or something, and Flo Rida punked his shit and shoved him into the wall, and then these 2 douchebags showed up and laughed at Heath Slater. I think one of them was Tyler Rex, and I think the other one was, like, I don't know, maybe Trent Beretta or somebody. I don't know, who gives a fuck. But, you know, at least Heath Slater got to be on WrestleMania, I guess, for a couple minutes. And then there was one segment that really has the fans divided, and that was Brodus Clay coming out with his dancers, calling his mama, and his mama comes out with her bridge club, and they dance with, you know, big black booty bitches. And, you know, I thought it was funny. All these Brodus Clay haters, Mauro Ranallo included, we had our little couple of tweet beef on Twitter over Brodus Clay's character when he first showed up. All you Brodus Clay haters can eat a dick, because Brodus Clay is hilarious. And he doesn't need to, you know, have like, yeah, but what is he doing storyline-wise? Who cares? He comes out, he does his fucking dance, and he squashes Heath Slater in 3 minutes, and nobody could care less, and everybody's just happy to see him. If you listen to the crowd reaction, we're cheering him quite loudly as well. Kind of a stupid thing, like, oh, his mama comes out, and it's just this, like, short black woman, obviously in a bodysuit, who's, like, dancing with this fucking gigantic ass, and then, like, 30 other ones come out dressed exactly the same, and it's Mama's Bridge Club, and they're all dancing, and so it was kind of a silly gimmick, but you know what? Getting to hear Brodus Clay on the mic, and seeing him come out to fucking Ernest the Cat Miller's music, I loved it. I thought it was hilarious, so whatever. And the last thing I want to comment on are some of the musical performances and choices. We had live performances by Machine Gun Kelly featuring Esther Dean doing their song Invincible. That was prior to John Cena coming down, and I thought they had a really good performance. I'm not a huge fan of Machine Gun Kelly, but at the same time, I thought the performance was really good. But then, like, the dude that was rapping for Machine Gun Kelly was like, yeah, Cena's gonna beat The Rock, and you know, don't shit talk The Rock in his hometown. It's probably not the best idea, because then, like, the crowd, not only did the crowd turn on Machine Gun Kelly, but they also turned even more on Cena, just for the fact that he said that. And if he would have kept his mouth shut, I think when you saw Cena come out, you would have heard a pretty split reaction from the crowd, but instead, it was clearly more negative than positive. And then a performance from Flo Rida that just went on way too long. And I know it's Flo Rida in Florida. I know. And I know that he was like pro The Rock and everything like that. But it just, that performance went on way too long. They attached the Madonna song Girl Gone Wild to this video montage of the Divas. Good song, but even talking about the Divas makes me yawn. And then, of course, there was The Memory Remains by Metallica, which was attached to the Undertaker Triple H match. Done superbly, including just before the match starts when Undertaker and Triple H are standing toe-to-toe in the ring, and they both look up, and the song starts playing as the cell is coming down. So there's like fortunes fade, and the cell's coming down, and it's awesome. It was the whole ambiance of that match was just perfect. And then, of course, Lillian Garcia singing America the Beautiful. She gave a lovely rendition of America the Beautiful, which is a WrestleMania tradition, so good on Lillian Garcia. That is my review video for WrestleMania. If I had to put a number on it, you know, I was entertained, but it didn't meet, in a lot of ways, it didn't meet the high expectations that I had set for it. I'll give it somewhere in the 7 range, either maybe a 7 or 7.5 or something like that. The highlight, in my mind anyways, was both the Punk Jericho match and Undertaker Triple H. The low light being, of course, the Divas Tag Team match, as well as Sheamus beating Daniel Bryan in 18 seconds. And you could even, I suppose, say that Triple Threat Tag Team match not being on the main card. But anyways, it was a good WrestleMania. Not great. I was entertained. Nick seemed to enjoy it as well. That's my preview video, or my reaction video to WrestleMania 28. I'm Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you later.